How you doing?
Good. Yeah, obviously ready to go for this one. Obviously coming off last week, just, the emphasis, I guess, this week would just be, continuing to be efficient and be ourselves as an offense throughout the entire game. And that really starts in practice with our prep. But again, just looking at these guys, a really good team, really good defense, really good scheme, and their players, like I always kind of say, but especially this week, they kind of make it come to life with the scheme that they have, and, we're excited about the challenge.
What do you make of the defense? Because total yards allowed per game looks like it's up there, but they're not allowing a whole lot in the run game.
Right. Yeah, I think, for us, it's just about going out there, understanding, what they're in, dissecting, communicating, and rolling from there.
Is there something that they change on that front, though, that makes it more difficult to run against?
They do a lot of good things defensively, not just in the run game, but in the pass game as well. There's certain things that we just got to be ready for, and we will be.
You mentioned wanting to start faster. Obviously, it didn't go the way you wanted last week, but how encouraging is it that we've seen multiple times this year, whether first or second half, the way this team can score in a hurry, and 30-point halves, I think 4 different times?
Yeah, it's encouraging. We're going to continue to harp on the fact that, if we can do it in a half, why can't we do it all game kind of thing. So we just got to, continue to put together a very consistent 4 quarters of football. And, we're working towards that, and we'll be looking forward to doing that hopefully this Sunday.
On the field goal drive you guys got right before halftime, the last play, I think you had no timeouts left in 8 seconds. So it seems like the only option is to throw to the sideline. Mm-hmm. I imagine the defense knows that, and you still get it. What's the key to finding a completion like that when you imagine that the defense knows it's coming?
Yeah, it's just practicing those scenarios for me, like understanding the kicker that we have, where our field goal line is, and understanding that, if we don't necessarily need those 5 yards, 10 yards to get a little bit closer, I just need to be good about throwing it away and being good in that situation and understanding it. And again, like you just mentioned, like understanding kind of the defense that they're in. Once I think that, we might not be able to get the play off, or they might tackle us in bounds, to just throw it out of bounds.
Sam, what opened up for you? You had the 3 rushing attempts. What opened up for you did you see in terms of some lanes, and how does that help in terms of extending the drive?
Yeah, I think just, understanding kind of the time clock in my own head and going through my progressions and being a football player, just going out there and, if I feel like the pocket may be collapsing and I can't run around, maybe just being able to find a safe spot to throw it away. But if I feel like I have time in the pocket and, I'm just kind of going through my progression and nothing's there, then I'm able to make a play and get out of the pocket a little bit. So I think that's what you guys saw on Sunday.
The last touchdown to Jackson in that game, were you thinking about running there and then you saw him, or were you just trying to kind of run to create something? Or?
Yeah, I was just moving forward in the pocket, trying to, again, just extend it down a little bit. And Jax did a really good job of kind of showing up for me there. AJ also did a really good job. He was wide open in the end zone as well. But, trying to, I guess, having the linebacker there as the whole player, just understanding that, if he takes Jax away, then I'm going to be able to walk in for a touchdown. And if he doesn't, then I'll be able to just dish it off to Jax right there like I did.
How often do you pick something up from film that you watch of yourself from a past game that ends up being useful to what you're doing in the future?
Yeah, all the time. I think just understanding that defenses are consistently watching my tape and understanding kind of my tendencies. So just picking up on little things that I do every now and then and learning from it. It's just like, the first few years of my career, not necessarily going the way that I want, but learning from those experiences and making sure that they don't hurt me in the future.
What's the first thing that you look at when you go back to look at your film from the previous week?
I think it's just execution. Looking at kind of the plays where I felt like, I maybe felt something, and then on the field it was a different story. So, I think execution from, my point of view, understanding how I can be better, and just kind of going from there.
When you were a young quarterback growing up, what did you take away from Phillip Rivers' game?
Yeah, Phillip, man, he's a great player, an all-time player. I think just one of those guys that, he wasn't necessarily known as the most mobile guy, but he could just kind of hang around in the pocket and make plays. And he was really, really good at dissecting defenses, understanding what they're in before they're even in it, pre-snap. And yeah, it's, he was, especially being close to my home, being in San Diego for his, most of his career. It was really cool to be able to watch him, growing up, and now, maybe play against him again. It's going to be a great opportunity for us.
Hey Sam, the awareness of where the down marker is when you're extending plays, that's something that teams practice, or obviously as a quarterback, as you come through, that becomes something you're aware. How does that become second nature to you?
Yeah, it's something that you continue to learn as you go. Just kind of where the down marker is and understanding, where the line of scrimmage is, first of all, to be able to throw the ball or maybe tuck it and run. But then, yeah, once you get going, you kind of where the down marker is, using your peripherals to kind of see where the marker is, how much you need for a first down, stuff like that before you got to get down. So there's a lot of things that you can pick up on and learn throughout the years of playing football.
Yeah, Cooper was talking yesterday about, like, one of the things he's noticed on really good teams is how guys do the things that don't show up on the stat sheets, all the different things. And obviously he's one of those guys. But
Yeah.
what have you got a sense that on this team that there's a lot of guys who put in those kind of efforts?
For sure. Yeah, there's a lot of guys that don't care about stats. They just want to win. That's all of our guys on this team. It's very rare, but it's something special about this team, like Coop had mentioned. But yeah, there's a ton of them. The one group that sticks out to me with that is the offensive line, right? Because I feel like the only time they get, they get any type of attention is when it's bad. Whether it's a false start, the announcers calling their name, and then sacks, those show up in the stat sheet, but there's nothing that really shows up unless it's like a big running game or you don't have any sacks on the game. But like there's nothing really where they get like a ton of praise. And so I think those guys, just the unselfishness in that room is unlike any other.
You guys have so many outspoken leaders on the defensive side of the ball. The offense, a lot of you guys are kind of quieter leaders. When the offense needs, a word, who are the people that kind of speaks up?
Yeah, no, there's a lot of guys that are able to speak up, and they speak up in rooms where people aren't necessarily there, cameras aren't there. So yeah, we got a really good group of guys in the offensive room that have a lot of leadership. But there's a lot of guys also that just like to put their head down and go to work. And I'll always be able to play football with guys like that.
Sam, Rashid's been here a month and change now. How has that process kind of gone for you, trying to get a new guy up to speed mid-season, and kind of where do you feel that relationship is now that you've had a chance to see how he moves and stuff and kind of figure that all out?
Yeah, no, she's been great, throughout the entire time that we've had him here. Just learning the system, obviously being with Clint last year helps a ton. But no, whenever I see him, he's always kind of studying or asking questions about, the game plan. So he's always on top of things.
Can you help us understand the difference between pure progression reads and coverage reads?
Yeah, so I mean, pure progression reads are, it's really, most of the NFL is pure progression reads. The other one is just like some, split reads. So like one side of the field is versus a certain coverage, the other side is for another coverage. But pure progression is really just using the whole field and all receivers just built into the progression so that you can just kind of click through it. And so when we say pure progression reads, it just means going 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to your back, essentially.
Does it sort of simplify things for the quarterback in real time?
Yeah, it does. Again, it's not how we do things all the time here, but it definitely it helps. When you got teams that are disguising coverages really well, you can just kind of click through your progressions that way.
You've heard people say, get rid of the ball faster. You've heard people say, just take a sack. You've heard people say, just run the ball. Besides probably being annoying to hear all those things, like, how do you in that split second kind of assess all those different options, and how do you like get better, and how you look to do it?
Yeah, I think it's watching tape. I think it's kind of grown from what you feel or what you see on the field, and how you see it on the tape, and how you can develop kind of that skill of that feel of kind of understanding different situations and understanding the weight of that pre-snap, but then just going out there and playing football. Because at the end of the day, like, you can't be thinking about all that, while the ball's getting snapped and while you're, trying to evade rushers and going through your progressions like we just talked about. So it's definitely something that's a learned skill. But you know, again, for kids and for me, you know, people that have played football their entire lives, you know, you have an innate ability to just go out there and make plays. But again, like I said, it's sometimes you don't need to go make a play. Sometimes you just need to throw the ball away or live, you know, for the next down.
Rivers was always kind of known for having a lot of kind of goofy arm angles at times and kind of getting rid of the ball. As a quarterback, did you ever try to copy that or try to do any of that? Or?
I didn't. No, if I ever tried to copy it, I feel like my friends would kind of, give me some backlash or make fun of me a little bit. So I think the biggest thing, you know, the only time I really felt like I was throwing like him was if I had a really, really big football and I was a little kid, and I felt like that was the only way I could actually get rid of it. But no, dude. I mean, you watch all of his tape that he's had throughout his career. He's made it work, and it's unbelievable the way that he throws the football, and how accurate and how much arm strength he has, with that funky release.
If you get a call at age 44 to come back and play, would you?
I don't know, man. That's I'll probably answer that question, in 15 years or so when that comes up. But it'd be hard to say. I mean, especially with how many kids he has. It's definitely it's interesting, man. But I mean, that's a guy who just loves football, and there's. When you're out of it for 4 or 5 years and you get that call, shoot, I don't know. I might be in the same boat, just, depending on where my body is and what I'm thinking at that time. But that's a great question.
Have you had a number in mind in terms of how long you want to play?
I think about it every now and then, but I don't have a one number where I'm like, oh, this is when I want to stop playing football. I'm just, again, right now, just being in the moment. I'm very, very happy and very grateful that I get to just play football every single day. I get to be in that locker room every single day with the boys. There's no greater feeling than playing this game, and I'll do it for as long as I can, or as long as my fiance or wife, at some point, says otherwise.
Thanks, Sam.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, Sam.